All right.
All right.
This is something new. Hit that like button. Tim Minchin. Thank you, God. A few people have been telling us to react to this, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm reacting because Nolo told me to react to it. So, ha! There we go. Let's get it.
It's just something I kind of need to address, and I should do it. I know I should do it now. That, over the years, I've realised that a lot of my audience has come to my.
He looked like Edward
I was just
Scissorhands.
saying, yeah.
Is that a wig?
Over the years, I've realised that
Screw this shit.
a lot of my audience has come to my shows, particularly because of sometimes because I quite often sing about beliefs. Specifically, in the past, I've sung a lot about faith and religion, and if I'm completely honest with you, I've tended to mock some of the, not in general, but some of the more perceived hypocrisies. But I just don't want anyone to be waiting for that because I'm not doing it anymore. Well, I know it's. Look, I should. You've earned an explanation. You're right. Something happened to me. You see, when I was touring my last show in Australia, it was the beginning of last year, and I was doing a gig. Not one of my gigs. It was a sort of. It was actually a new material night, hosted by the Ross Noble. You know, the long-haired mentally ill northerner, and it's not obviously. He's a genius, which is a mentally ill person with an audience. He's beautiful. He's you know Ross. He's the best, and he does this amazing.
Trying.
Having a drink after.
You gotta understand. I know nothing about this, so
I can't even understand half the thing he's saying. He's running around in circles with his words.
we don't know what we're in for. So I guess we gotta just dig deeper into what he's saying a little bit, because
A little bit.
he says something about singing, and I'm assuming he's singing because the type of mic he has and stuff.
And there's a
But
band behind him.
facts. So yeah, we about to see.
And I was doing a gig, not one of my gigs. It was a sort of. It was actually a new material night, hosted by the Ross Noble. You know, the long-haired mentally ill northerner, and it's not obviously. He's a genius, which is a mentally ill person with an audience. He's beautiful. He's you know Ross. He's the best, and he does this amazing gig. And we were having a drink afterwards, and it was a really nice vibe in the bar. But I noticed this dude who slightly uncomfortably was hovering, sort of on the periphery of our group. And I noticed in particular, this tall, really handsome guy had those nice dreadlocks that you can get for about 600 quid at the hairdresser, and he had a shirt open to about here, and it's very tanned. But I noticed him particularly because he had a long silver chain. And hanging on the end of the chain, a quite prominent silver cross. You know, the sort of cross you might wear if you're a fan of intersections.
This is
What?
Lowercase letter T. Or probably most commonly if you're a fan of the apparatus by which first century Romans put to death and tortured Jewish insurgents. And anyway, he was sort of standing there, and eventually he made the move, and he came over, and it's lovely, polite guy. He said, "Hi, g'day, I'm Sam." His name was Sam. He said, "I'm from Dandenong." He was from Dandenong, which is the suburb of Dandenong, set in the Dandenong Ranges, just to the southeast of Melbourne. And we got talking, but I could tell he wanted to talk to me, and eventually he managed to kind of, isolate me from the pack. And he said, "Tim, I've always wanted to talk to you because I'm a fan of your work, and I don't want you to think I'm offended or anything, but as you might have noticed, I'm a Christian." And he said, I've always wanted to ask you why you don't believe in God." And I said, "Well, Sam, I don't believe in God for the same reason that anyone that doesn't believe in a thing doesn't believe in it, because I haven't yet been offered enough evidence to allay my doubts."
right.
And he said, "But you don't just go through your whole life only believing things for which you have evidence."
Yeah, I mean, kinda like, I mean, probably wouldn't get on the airplane unless you seen a evidence of an airplane working,
True.
or a
Why I
car.
knew you were going to talk about airplanes.
I don't know.
I just knew you were going to say something about an airplane.
We'd be on airplanes.
That we do.
Vroom.
For which you have evidence. And I said, yeah. That's pretty much how I stutter my way through my turgid existence, yeah. And he said, what about love? And I said, what about love, Sam? And he said, do you believe in love? And I said, yeah, I believe in love. I think I love. I am loved. Sure. And he said, aha, you don't have any evidence for love. And I said, I think, yeah, I got evidence. Sure. I mean, love without evidence is stalking.
I mean, kind of accurate.
And he said, well, Tim, if it's evidence you want, how about this? And he told me this story, this incredible story about his mum. You see, Sam and his mother were members of a big evangelical church congregation in the Dandenongs, you know, one of those new glassy type ones. And in her early 60s, Sam's mum had gone to the doctor with a problem with her eye, and he had diagnosed an irreversible degenerative eye disorder. And he told her that if she didn't get surgery very quickly that she would lose her eyesight. And Sam's mum was afraid. She didn't believe in modern medicine. She didn't trust doctors. She was afraid of hospitals and the idea of surgery. But Sam and his mum went to this church, this incredible church. And that Sunday, the entire congregation of their church, some 1,700 people, prayed at the same time for Sam's mum. And the following Tuesday, they went back to the doctor, and there was no sign that there'd ever been anything wrong with her eyes. She was healed. She was cured. And the reason this story had an impact on me is because I try to be intellectually honest.
Why do I feel like he's immediately about to get to some bullshit? He walked up, he sat down and started a whole body language change. Hold on.
And the reason this story had an impact on me is because I try to be intellectually honest with others and with myself, and all I've ever asked for is evidence. And here I was witnessing a first-person account of what can only be described as a miracle. So I went home and I wrote this song.
I just feel
There you
it.
go.
I can feel it.
I have an apology to make. I'm afraid I've made a big mistake. I turned my face away from you, Lord. I was too blind to see the light. I was too meek to feel your might. I closed my eyes, I couldn't see the truth, Lord. But then like Saul on the Damascus road,
He kind of killing that though.
you sent a messenger to me, and so now I've had the truth revealed to me. Please forgive me all those things I said. I'll no longer betray you, Lord. I will pray to you instead. And I will say thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you, thank you.
What?
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mum. I had no idea, but it's suddenly so clear. Now I feel such a cynic. How could I have been so dumb? Thank you for displaying how suddenly so clear. Now I feel so Sam's mum. I had no idea, but it's suddenly so clear. Now I feel such a cynic. How could I have been so dumb? Thank you for displaying how praying works. A particular prayer in a particular church. Thank you, Sam, for the chance to acknowledge this omnipotent ophthalmologist. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mom.
Cause he
This
ain't
is
lying.
not real.
Yo, nah, he talking mad. I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of funny to me. He just not because the doctor could have messed up, but because God. Yo, I feel it.
Don't understand.
He's just saying like people be. He said like the doctor told the guy.
I know. I mean, I thought he was actually gonna believe in God.
No, I can tell immediately. You don't see all that black paint around his eyes. Yeah, I said, "Oh nah, he on straight bullish right now." I can already tell he was on one immediately.
The chance to acknowledge this omnipotent ophthalmologist. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mum. I didn't realize that it was so simple, but you've shown a great example of just how it can be done. You only need to pray in a particular spot to a particular version of a particular God, and if you pull that off without a hitch, he will fix one eye of one middle-class white. I know in the past my outlook has been limited. I couldn't see examples of where life had been definitive, but I can admit it when the evidence is clear as Sam's mom's new cornea, and that's extremely clear. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts.
Ain't no way.
It's as clear as Sam's mom's new cornea, and that's extremely clear. Thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mom. I have to admit that in the past I have been skeptical, but Sam described this miracle and I am overcome. How fitting that the sighting of a sight-based intervention should open my eyes to this exciting new dimension. It's like someone put an eye chart up in front of me and the top 5 letters say ICGOD. Thank you, Sam, for showing how my point of view has been so flawed. I assumed there was no God at all, but now I see that cynical and simply that his interests aren't particularly broad. He's largely undiverted by the starving masses, or the inequality between the various classes. He gives out strictly limited passes, redeemable for surgery or 2-for-1 glasses. I feel so shocked for historically mocking you. Your interests are clearly confined to the ocular. I bet given the chance, you'd eschew the divine and start a little business selling contacts online. Fuck me, Sam. What are the odds that of history's endless parade of gods, that the God you just happen to be taught to believe in is the actual God, and he digs on healing, but not the AIDS-ridden African nations, nor the victims of the plague, nor the flood-addled Asians, but healthy, insured Australians.
Wait, rewind that part.
Man.
God, and he digs on healing, but not the AIDS-ridden African nations, nor the victims of the plague, nor the flood-addled Asians, but healthy, privately insured Australians with common incurable lens degeneration. The story of Sam's has but a single explanation, a surgical God who digs on magic operations. No, it couldn't be mistaken attribution of causation, born of a coincidental temporal correlation, exacerbated by a general lack of education, vis-a-vis physics in Sam's parish congregation. It couldn't be that all these pious people are liars. It couldn't be an artifact of confirmation bias. It couldn't be by a general lack of education, vis-a-vis physics in Sam's parish congregation. It couldn't be that all these pious people are liars. It couldn't be an artifact of confirmation bias, a product of groupthink, a mass delusion, an emperor's new clothes style, fear of exclusion. No, it's more likely to be an all-powerful magician than the misdiagnosis of the initial condition, or one of many cases of spontaneous remission, or a record-keeping glitch by the local physician. No, the only explanation for Sam's mum's scene, they prayed to an all-knowing super being, to the omnipresent master of the universe, and he liked the sound of their muttered verse. So for a bit of a change from his usual stunt of being a sexist, racist, murderous, he popped down to Dandenong and just like that used his powers to heal the cataracts of Sam's mom. Of Sam's mom. Oh, thank you, God, for fixing the cataracts of Sam's mom. I didn't realize that it was such a simple thing. I feel such a ding-a-ling, what ignorant scum.
They're going crazy though.
A prayer can work, a particular prayer in a particular church, in a particular style with a particular stuff, and for particular problems that are particularly tough, and for particular people, preferably white, and for particular senses, preferably sight, a particular prayer in a particular spot, to a particular version of a particular God. And if you get that right, he just might take a break from giving babies malaria and back down to the local area to fix the cataracts of your mom.
He should have been there front and center though. They should have got him
It's
there.
a miracle.
Oh my God. It's a Miracle is how it ended might be top 3. That's goated. Hey,
Thank you, God.
thank you God for fixing Sam's mom. You know? Not everybody else's, but Sam's.
You're right.
Punk ass Sam, bruh. Hey, man, he different. That was a little different, but that was kind of entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I rock with it. Hit that like button.
Yes.
Hit that subscribe button.
Mm-hmm. And remember, go and pray at a particular church for a particular God to get
Your eyes
the
fixed.
cataracts fixed on Sam's mom.
Yeah, you got glasses.
Yeah.
Maybe he can fix your eyeball ears.
Thank you, God.